Guess what time it is? Mama's story time. Yay! Well, hello, my darlings. Welcome to story time. It's lovely to see you today. We've got a neat story today. It's a Disney book and it's called Dumbo. Have you heard about Dumbo? Let's get started.
Quite easily, I just had 20mm packer blocks either side.
Mr. Stork flew down and landed on the roof of a train car. "Oh, Mrs. Jumbo, special delivery for Mrs. Jumbo," he called, hopping from one train carriage to the next. From one carriage, Mr. Stork saw several elephant trunks waving at him. Mr. Stork hopped into the train car. "Which one of you ladies is expecting a little bundle of joy?" he asked. "Right over there," the elephants answered, pointing to Mrs. Jumbo. Everyone cooed when the bundle fell open. Achoo! The little elephant sneezed. His ears, which had been neatly tucked behind his head, flopped open. They were enormous. The elephants all shrieked with laughter. "Just look at those ears," one elephant giggled. "Why, with those ears, you should call him Dumbo." "Oh, they're not very nice, are they?" The elephant's teasing made Mrs. Jumbo angry. Turning her back on the others, she picked up her baby, carried him to a corner of the train carriage, and lay down beside him. She didn't care if her baby's ears were big. She thought he was beautiful, just the way he was. Cuddling him in her trunk, she gently rocked him to sleep. Aww. The next day, the townspeople followed the parade to the circus ground. "Hurry, hurry, hurry! Step right up and get your tickets!" the circus barker called to the gathering crowd. Inside the elephant tent, Mrs. Jumbo was quietly bathing Dumbo when a bunch of rowdy boys ran in. What do you think they're going to say? Don't know. "Look at those ears," they shouted when they saw Dumbo. "Isn't that the funniest thing you ever saw?" The boys wiggled their ears and stuck out their tongues at Dumbo. Laughing and jeering, the boys pulled Dumbo's ears. Mrs. Jumbo wanted to protect her baby. She picked up a bale of straw and threw it at the boys to scare them away. "Help! Mad elephant!" they screamed. The ringmaster dashed into the tent. "Down, Mrs. Jumbo!" he shouted, cracking his whip in the air. Then someone tried to pull Dumbo away. Furious, Mrs. Jumbo bellowed and charged. "Lock her up!" the ringmaster commanded. As Dumbo watched, the trainers dragged his mother away. They locked her in a wagon that was set apart from the rest of the circus. There, with her legs in chains, Mrs. Jumbo stood alone, weeping for her baby. Oh no. Dumbo, crying for his mother, thought he had no friends in the world as the other elephants turned their backs on him. But Dumbo was wrong. Someone did want to be his friend. In a corner of the tent sat a little mouse named Timothy. He had seen and heard everything. When Timothy saw how the other elephants treated Dumbo, it made him mad. "Look at that poor little fella," the mouse said. Everyone's making fun of his ears. What's the matter with them? I think they're cute. Oh, you aren't afraid of little old me, are you? Timothy asked Dumbo, who was hiding. I'm Timothy Mouse, and I'm your friend, Dumbo. I have a plan to help you free your mother. At that, Dumbo forgot all about being scared. I know you're embarrassed by your ears, kid, Timothy said, but lots of people with big ears are famous. So all we got to do is make you a big star. But first, we need a really colossal act. And I'm just the fellow to think of one. Leave everything to me. The next day, Timothy had put his plan to make Dumbo a star into action. The ringmaster blew his whistle, and the first elephant climbed on top of a large ball. Dumbo and Timothy watched as the pyramid rose higher and higher until it almost reached the top of the tent. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the ringmaster shouted, the world's smallest elephant will spring to the top of the pyramid. But before Dumbo could make his leap, his ears became untied and he stumbled over them, right into the elephant pyramid. For a moment, the stunned crowd watched in silence as the elephant pyramid teetered and swayed. They ran for their lives as the elephants began to fall. Trumpeting and bellowing, the elephants tumbled down, crashing into beams and platforms and bleachers. They smacked into walls and pulled down wires and ropes. Finally, they crashed into the center tent pole. The enormous tent began to sway and billow. Then, with a huge groan, the tent collapsed. Dumbo was left sitting alone and forlorn in the middle of the ruins. Oh no. The very next show, the clowns painted Dumbo's face and dressed him as a baby. They put him on a tiny platform high up in a building, surrounded by crackling make-believe flames. Dumbo stood shaking with fear, while far below, clowns dressed as firemen ran around, squirting hoses at each other. The baby will have to jump, a clown fireman announced. The rest of the firemen held up a thin safety net. Closing his eyes, Dumbo jumped out of the building. Dumbo fell through the net and landed in a tub of wet plaster. The audience roared with laughter. As the clowns bowed to the cheering crowds, they paid no attention to Dumbo, who crept from the tent feeling hurt, humiliated, and miserable. Oh, Dumbo. After the show, the clowns celebrated in their tent. Cheer up, Dumbo, Timothy said as he scrubbed his friend's sad little face. I've found out where they're keeping your mother. I'm going to take you to see her later tonight. A wistful smile crossed Dumbo's face. Things wouldn't seem so bad if he could just see his mother. Later that night, while most of the circus folk slept, Timothy took Dumbo to the wagon where his mother was chained. Mrs. Jumbo, someone to see you, Timothy called. Mrs. Jumbo put her trunk through the bars of the window and stroked Dumbo's head. She wrapped her trunk around Dumbo and rocked him lovingly. Sadly, it was time to leave. Tearfully, Dumbo and his mother waved goodbye. Dumbo cried a little after seeing his mother. All he wanted was to be with her. As Dumbo stopped crying, his eyes began to droop until they were shut tight. And as he fell asleep, he started having the strangest dream. In the dream, he was blowing bubbles. Soon, the bubbles looked just like elephants. Elephants that danced and flew. It's a strange dream, isn't it? The next morning, Timothy had a great idea. "That's it, Dumbo," he exclaimed. "Your ears! They would be perfect wings. You could be the world's only flying elephant." Dumbo wasn't so sure, but he trusted Timothy's instincts. He would try his hardest to fly. Do you think Dumbo will be able to fly? Don't know. Soon it was time for Dumbo to perform again with the clowns. He stood on the platform with Timothy perched on his trunk. The clowns had built the burning house higher, and the ground looked very, very far away. But this time, Timothy had given a bird feather to Dumbo. He said that it was a magic feather that would help Dumbo to fly. Holding it tight, Dumbo got ready to jump. Boy, are they in for a surprise, Timothy chuckled as Dumbo jumped from the platform. But as they flew through the air, the wind tore the feather from Dumbo's trunk. Dumbo froze. Without his magic feather, he didn't believe he could fly. He and Timothy hurtled towards the ground. Timothy slid to the end of Dumbo's trunk. "Open your ears and fly," he pleaded. "The magic feather was just a gag. You can fly all by yourself." Dumbo heard Timothy's words and believed them. And what's more, he believed in himself. At the last second, Dumbo spread his ears, soaring up and up and up. The astonished audience went wild as Dumbo zoomed after the clowns, chasing them around the ring. The crowd roared as he dove at the ringmaster. They applauded thunderously as Dumbo did loop-the-loops and rolls and spins in the air. Dumbo was famous. All the newspapers carried pictures of him and Timothy. Most importantly, Mrs. Jumbo was let out of her cage because the ringmaster was so pleased with Dumbo. Dumbo thought it was great fun being a star, but what he loved best of all was being with his mother once again. Oh, Dumbo. That was a cool story, wasn't it? Well, my darlings, I'm going to put some videos on for you right now. Kids are coming out to the container with me and they're going to help me set up the office for story time.
You're helping my.
You're going to do some mahi, Sarah?
Mama, can I have your work? I'm going to read.
Sure.
Do you remember?
Oh!
Do you remember?
Good morning. Well, today's another day and I'm heading in to pick up the kids because today we're getting our worms for our worm farm from their school. Let's go. Driving to get the kids. Yes! After school. Because what day is it?
Friday.
Yay!
We're bringing Coop and potty.
Good, because you're going to go on the potty at Mama's house, eh?
Yeah, going Mama house. He's getting used to going on the potty.
That's so good. You're going to get some worms for the worm farm?
Yeah.
You're going to help me get the worms?
Yeah. Yay!
Yay! Hop in the car. Here we are at school. Put your bags up. Oh, Fire Jenny's getting some shredded paper for the worms. Davey's going to carry out the scraps. It's a cold morning out there. Out to the worm farm. Ooh, there we go. Look at those beautiful worms. Scooping some into the tray. Thanks for carrying them, Dave.
Can I put this in your car? In the car?
Sure. Sarah's getting the paper.
I think they're saying, hey, where are we going? Do they know where they're going or something?
Oh?
Do they know where they're going?
No, they don't know they're coming to live at our house. Well, we've been down and we've got our worms and they have come home to live at Old MacDonald's farm. So we're going to put them in the worm farm. Start with the shredded paper. Here's all that black goodness. No, do you think they'll like it? Hope so. Sun's about to pop its beautiful head out over our hill. Looks like the Teletubbies' good morning sun, doesn't it? First, I've got these girls here for some hay. Good morning. Morning, girls. That's it. Good boy. We'll leave it there and we'll come back and have a look at it in a minute. Yeah, you can put some water on it. Oh, that's looking good. That looks nice.
Just have to squish it up.
Beautiful. Good job.
You want to do one?
Yeah.
I won't face one that way because the dog will try to eat it.
Yeah. Check this out. Cauliflower, a cheddar. It's yellow. So I'm going to plant that in the gaps. We're going to plant some of these beauties.
Mama?
Scarlet runners. But they're stringless. So we're going to plant these ones? These ones?
Yeah.
One. Yeah, you can have two.
He said, hi, Jesus. Whoa!
Well, my darlings, I hope you like those videos. And until I see you next time, remember, be good for mum and dad and what? Kind to each other. I love you, my darlings. Mwah. Bye.